This year marks half a century since the death of the great Pablo Picasso. And while few doubt the genius of his art, more and more question the quality of his character. Anthony Mason has this portrait of the artist.
At the Gagosian Gallery in New York, an exhibition of Pablo Picasso's works opened last month. It's one of nearly 50 shows this year in museums and galleries around the world, marking the 50th anniversary of the artist's death. From sculptures in Spain to landscapes in Mississippi. Even one exhibit at New York's Museum of Modern Art exploring works from just one summer.
This work in particular stands out for its subject, vibrancy.
And at Sotheby's last month, Picasso's Femme à la montre, Woman with a Watch, became the most expensive painting to be auctioned this year. But in the Me Too era, the master's reputation has also been the target of reappraisal. As the Brooklyn Museum put it, it's Pablo-matic.
Do you think it's right that he's being reevaluated?
Why shouldn't he be reevaluated? We are living in a time when we no longer want to tolerate abusive behavior.
Art critic Deborah Solomon raised the question in a recent New York Times column, Picasso, love him or hate him?
I love the way he depicted women. I don't feel cruelty in the paintings. I don't feel sadism. If we're going to look at his life, that's where all the problems come in. He obviously was a cad. He was a raging chauvinist.
Picasso abandoned his first wife, ballet dancer Olga Koklova. The lover he left her for, Marie-Thérèse Walter, later died by suicide. Another lover, Dora Maar, needed shock therapy after Picasso walked out on her.
There's a famous photograph of him trailing Françoise Gillot on the beach holding a parasol above her head. You would think he is the most helpful lover. I don't think it really captures what he put women through.
Gillot, an artist herself, became the only one of Picasso's many muses to leave him.
She thought that in that relationship, they should be equal.
Yeah, he didn't like that.
When she left, he didn't.
Paloma Picasso, the artist's last surviving child, was 4 years old when Picasso and Gillot split. For the next decade, she and her brother Claude would spend about 4 months a year with their father.
What I always thought was fascinating is that every time we arrived from Paris with Claude, the house would look different because he would have been maybe through a phase of doing ceramics, so the house was filled with ceramics, you could hardly walk.
You were aware that you were kind of growing up in a magical world.
Oh, completely.
But in 1964, just months before her mother's book, Life with Picasso, was published, Paloma says her stepmother, Jacqueline Roch, abruptly cut her off from her father.
I think that Jacqueline felt threatened by us.
How did you feel about that at the time?
Very bad, of course. It's very difficult to take.
A few times a year, Paloma says she went unannounced to her father's gated house in the south of France.
What happened when you rang the doorbell?
Monsieur n'est pas là.
He's not there.
Yeah.
But you kept going back.
Just because I would hear that I didn't want to see my father, so I had to do this so that I would keep my sanity.
Do you think he was there?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. He could have made an effort to see you, couldn't he?
Actually, I did run into him once in the street,
Yeah.
and everything was great, except that Jacqueline kept pulling him, saying, oh, we have to go, Pablo, we have to go.
You seem to give him a break a lot.
Yes, I guess.
You
True.
tend to blame it on people around him or on your stepmother.
So I'm daddy's little girl, I suppose.
This year, Paloma, a renowned jewelry designer, took over the administration that runs the artist's estate.
Post-Me Too, there's been some attempt to sort of reappraise your father.
Right.
How do you feel about that?
Before they made him into a god, which of course is an exaggeration, and so now he's become this terrible monster.
Which you believe is an exaggeration too.
A huge exaggeration. Of course, he had some faults, but he was not nice to his men friends either. So that's not, nobody cares about that.
So given all the discussion about who Picasso was as a man, has your view of him changed in any way, given the way...
No, he's still
Artist Micheline Thomas.
Has that affected your respect for him as an artist in any way?
It's complicated,
Yeah.
and that's okay. I mean, there are family members that are the same way. He was innovative, experimental, and he did it half the time in his underwear.
Thomas's own series of work, Tête de Femme, took inspiration from Picasso's female portraits.
You don't think Picasso should be canceled?
I wouldn't want my work to be canceled.
Yeah.
I think it's very complex because right now we can separate the art from the artist because he's not here. But would we hold him accountable if he was?
Art is larger than this moment. And this moment is causing a lot of dissent, much of it justified, but art is larger than that.
Art critic Deborah Solomon says we should look to cubism, which Picasso created, to understand the artist.
What made him a modern artist is that he took on the single-point perspective that had prevailed in art for 500 years. And he believed that we never see things just one way.
You're saying we should see him the same way.
Exactly. When we look at Picasso, he deserves to be seen from multiple perspectives. It's okay to have conflicting feelings about him. You can say, I love his work, but yes, he was a bad boyfriend, and I'm glad I never met him.